Zdravo, Tung. Welcome to Dialogue Corner, a podcast hosted and produced by a group of young women from Belgrade and Prishtina, alumni of the OSCE Dialogue Academy. In our podcast, we will try to bring different guests, such as prominent members of Serbian and Albanian societies and members of the international community, in order to share interesting stories and thoughtful insights. Also, we aspire to introduce our network to a larger audience and to create a community based on values of dialogue and gender equality, as well as share them not only with Albanian and Serbian communities, but throughout the entire region.
So today we have with us Ivana Markulić, who is also an alumna of Dialogue Academy Network. She's a second generation, I believe. And today we will talk a little bit about women's peace activism, why is it important, and how it can contribute to our societies. Hi, Ivana.
Hello, Anya.
How are you?
Fine, as you know, fine. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm really, happy to speak on this podcast and to share my experience on this topic.
I'm really glad you decided to join us, especially because for years now you have contributed to the network. So regarding Dialogue Academy, I really wanted to begin this kind of podcast by asking you about your experience and how it really affected the course of your decisions to be in the movement, in the network, and your really professional and personal path.
Yeah, like as you said in the beginning, I'm the member of the second generation. It's like in the 2016, as probably girls and people who will listen this podcast knows, like it started in 2015, and basically my generation was the second one. So it's now like 5 years that I'm like the active member of this alumni network. And what I always want to emphasize that this alumni network but academy really changed my life in the professional way, but also privately, but in a professional way that connect me with a lot of like great girls, smart, both from Kosovo and Serbia, like from both societies and from Belgrade and Prishtina groups. And that really showed me what feminism is, what solidarity is, what reconciliation process is. And it's really, developed me in this what I am today. Like I'm working in regional youth cooperation office in a local branch office in Serbia, and my core job is reconciliation process in regional cooperation. And a lot of my experiences, knowledge which I'm now like implementing and in developing of our programs are basically taken from the Dialogue Academy, from my connection with all those girls and the projects and programs and processes in which we were together. So for me, like Dialogue Academy is something big. Like this alumni network is really a luck in my life, because like now, especially we from the Belgrade group, and you know that for sure, we are very close to each other privately, and we're close to each other and in also professional ways. So I think that like the motto of this academy and our network is like solidarity, like feminism, like the pure solidarity among young women.
I would have to agree, and I think I would also speak for myself and say it was a life-changing experience, and also I think it's such a unique network, both personal and professional, and you can rely on the girls that are member of the network. So I think that is something that is really unique and empowering, especially for young women. I also wanted to ask you a little bit about women's peace activism. I know you're really interested in the topic, and the role of civil society actually when it comes to contributing to the reconciliation and peace processes in the region.
Yeah, like I'm just speaking for our society, like from Serbia. it's like, how to say, the heritage of Yugoslavia, I would say. So because we have like the feminist movements from the Second World War, you know, from the anti-fascist movements, like the woman movement in Serbia, but in Yugoslavia, as a part of the anti-fascist movement, was, how to say, the really, how to say, big and important part. And from that years, from I think it's like 5-6 decades now, we have that women activism. In like past 60 years, it wasn't like this. Now it was, you know, more, how to say, socialistic one, but that movement really traced the women and peace activism, and a movement which we have now in Serbia, but in region. Why I emphasizing this? It's a teacher that we basically are all standing on the shoulders of our older activists, soldiers, how to say, the women soldiers on Serbian Saborkinja. It is not, there is no, how to say, so powerful word to explain this, you know, but Saborkinja. I hope that like for girls from Kosovo, from Pristina, from Kosovo, somebody will translate them.
We will
This word.
actually, this will kind of be a recap for
Oh,
for a
fine.
person who is editing,
Yeah.
but we actually want to introduce a word of the day. So I guess Saborkinja could be a word of the
Yeah.
day to be translated into Albanian as well.
Yeah, because I don't know how to say, but the co-fighter, but you know, like it's, but it's Saborkinja.
Yeah.
And because of their, how to say, work and their activism, like their feminism, we had like peace movement, which unfortunately, because of all bad things which happened in 90s, like the wars and everything and challenges, and civil wars arised, and which show that women are solidar among each other, no matter from which society you are, like from Kosovo, like cities or villages, from cities or villages from of Serbia, of Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, North Macedonia. So because of that, we have to say that that history and that archive of the activism and the examples of good practices, and how to say, rich know-how spectrum of practices, which our colleagues, like older colleagues now, women, practices through that tremendous, how to say, like really bad years for whole region, like the tragic one, but important for the woman peace activism, because in these years, in 90s, women showed that there is like the feminism above all patriarchal, how to say, challenges and all wars and the tragic things which happened. And I think that like in this process, like women activism and peace activism, which is in Serbia, in our region, is the same. The role of civil society is a crucial one. There were like women non-governmental organization which led those protests against wars, protests against violence, and I think it was crucial part for our civil society sector in Serbia. I'm talking about for Serbia, but also for the XU region, to trace the path for us as now like young feminists who are really still fighting against some old spirits, I would say, and like unfortunately the same and similar problems which we have like for, I think, like it's 3 decades now. And especially in this process, like women activism, peace activism, local NGOs, and I'm like, I have to say, emphasizing it a lot of time whenever and wherever I'm speaking on, is like local small NGOs, especially women NGOs, because they are, how to say, like a base of pure activism. Those women and young girls are like, like they really believe in solidarity and feminism in this how to say, vision that we can live and we should live in the peaceful society, in the peaceful region. And because of that, I really want to say thank you for all of women which really still doing a really how to say tough job. And because of this, civil society is a crucial stakeholder and actor in peace activism, not just in Serbia, but in our region. And especially this woman experience of violence and woman way on how to resolve the conflicts.
Thank you so much. And I think it is so important, again, kind of women do have this unique experience during the conflict. And I think even after the conflict, they have different experiences when it regarding the conflicts and post-conflict society and etc. And I think that is something that surely brings all women together, kind of the overburdening of the violence, but also that is something that is uniquely their experience, and that kind of can bring them all together, working towards more peaceful societies. What is something that has motivated you to be a peace activist?
I don't know. It's like it's weird because like I was a political science student and I was like, yeah, okay, like the international relations really, how to say, is why I got on this faculty. But what I was always interesting, it's like the regional politics and like what is happening in all those processes and tendencies. And I just realized that there is like one important component in this regional cooperation, but you know, in more I have to say in the reconciliation process, it's like the um, women activism. And I know why, but that, especially that topic, like the women activism, women peace activism, was especially important for me, but at the same time interesting. You know, like we are like the deep patriarchal society, not just Serbian society, but all societies from unfortunately is the same in our region. And it's like was interesting for me like how those brave women are still trying, you know, their will and their commitment to this process was interesting for me. And because of that, before this OSCE Dialogue Academy, I was the part of the very similar academy of Queen Atil Queen Foundation. It's like the Swedish foundation, also with girls from Kosovo. And from that very moment, like from the 2015, it was like that Queen Academy for 2015 and the OSCE Academy in 2016. I realized that's how to say my passion to try to change this region and to influence on our presence, you know, like on our present political tendencies and things which are happening through the activism, through the peace activism, especially through the cooperation and cooperation with young women. And especially it was interesting for me like the to meet Albanian girls, because you know, like we are all grew up in those stories which has to be how to say um, on which we have to talk about. And because of that I realized that we unfortunately and again I said it, like we all have like the same problems which are facing, but we can make a change. And because of that I'm like in this peace activism, and my like the core passion in activism is like the woman activism.
And I think even like activism and also feminism can have that taboo note to them, I think, in our society. So it makes it exceptionally interesting to be part of that, kind of to really work on something that you truly believe, that not necessarily everyone will understand, that has proven to be a good practice, that has made a change, and you kind of have a working towards a goal, but also trying to influence other people and raise awareness on these issues, especially in societies, again, that are not particularly excited about these topics. What would you say are the kind of uniting points for the region, and something that can actually bring towards better cooperation, perhaps.
Yeah, as I already said, it's like unfortunately, it's like the bad things which are like our societies having in common. It's like challenges which we are facing, um, and like because of that, like empowering of young women and the feminism is important because like as activism, like as how to say umbrella process of empowering and because like you can see that there is like a thing which has to be changed, and these things which have to be changed are you know, like uniting points, because if you're self-aware and if you are aware of your society, you see that you have to change something, and that some things has to be changed, but you cannot do it alone, but you know, in a company. And
Again,
that's the
solidarity, that's I think
yeah.
kind of the key component.
Yeah, and that's the solidarity, you know, that we are in this together and we have to resolve this together. Second thing is like the political processes in which we are. It's a European integration process. You know, I hope soon will be part of the big European family. And you know, like it's one, how to say, like the common thing. And the third thing is our culture, you know. As I said, unfortunately, patriarchal society, but we have like the bright examples of how women, and I'm talking about women can change things, and women can really influence on the history. And I'm really proud on that part of the history of our region, because you can see that women were always like active, but it was always like in history, how to say, hidden and you know, like covered by this mansplaining of history, and you know, like a man
We're
domination.
missing
But
her story.
yeah, we missing her story. Yeah, definitely. So those are how to say the uniting points.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And I think like it's interesting that you have mentioned the European integration, and I think people are often not aware of how important it is and what an important unifying factor it is, because at least for
Yeah.
us, for example, speaking from a perspective of a young person, we get so many opportunities to travel, to meet each other, to get acquainted with each other's cultures, which are different, but on the end of the day, so similar, which is something that we can understand each other way better than perhaps
Yeah.
people and young people who are not, and other women who are from outside of the region.
Yeah.
What would you say are kind of the advantages of women's peace activism?
The another keyword of this episode is like solidarity, like feminism. Yeah, solidarity. I think it's like that we like women know that we are all in this together, and we really need to fight together, and we need to really fight together the, how to say, all you know, those prejudices and everyday political how to say turbulences which are, you know, happening every day. And you know,
Often
it's
there
like,
are.
yeah, and we're living in that. And I think it's like the success of women activism and the women network in Serbia, in our region, is that we and I said we as a women network, we are constant and we are commitment to this process. I think it's the main it's the main accomplishment of a woman movement in our region. Like we are the constant, which cannot be changed like that. Because we're facing, and I said, like, I think it's fifth time. Unfortunately, this like you know, because of this situation which we are living, plus the patriarchal society. But I think that because of those things, we are even more how to say more, how to say, the winner of these decades and years, because we are not vanishing, you know, we are even getting stronger. And I think it's the most important thing in this process in the future is like to empowering of young women especially from the high school ages, even earlier. But like to empower all of them and to explain that feminism is not a F word, it's not a bad word. We all have to be feminists, not just women but men, because like the only solution for this region, but for the whole world, is like the peace, and especially for this from this region in our societies, and we can only reach that together, without deprivileging each other, without discriminating each other, and and I would say it's again together. And that's the core of the feminism, this solidarity and this self-awareness of our excellency and our importance for our society and our future. And because of that, I think it's like that this constance of women activism and a women movement and not giving up is like the best thing which we achieved until today.
And also, since you mentioned the kind of political tension sometimes and turmoils, I think women peace movements actually show that it could be done the other way. So there is not only the tension, there is not only misunderstanding, but there is another way. So even when through media or through political speeches things can seem tense, then we can still showcase there is the other way around. There is solidarity, there is understanding, there is cooperation, and then again we can achieve this together. And kind of the last question, what is something that you would like to say to a young woman who is interested in peace activism, to encourage them, or not, it could be a woman, it could be women. So something that you would like to say to her or them, or in general young people, to encourage them to be active in this field.
Yeah, to not be afraid to face the reality of the politics of the Balkans relations, because when you face the reality, you will start to think different, you will start to think from another shoes, and you will start to be, and I like to emphasize it, the pure patriotic, because like patriotism is not about nationalism. Patriotism is like the love to your society, to your country, but also to be respectful to another society, to another culture, and to praise their their presence in your society, in your region. Basically, interculturalism is one of the most important things that we need to realize, that it's like the normal life, and that young person which want to be in this peace activism movement have to know that we are all in this. And it's this is not how to say this is the process which will last like I think in next like 50 years at least. And that because of this, have to say, importance of this process, that young woman or young man need to be encouraged to change this society and this region, for all of us who want to live normally, and like in a big European family. And I think it's like only one way ticket for our region.
I agree. So Ivana, thank you so much for your interesting thoughts and for sharing your experience and knowledge, and again, thoughts on this topic. I think it is really important to speak a little bit more about it, to provide more space for this topic and include more people.
Thank you for joining us for the episode of Dialogue Corner. If you liked it, make sure to visit our social media platforms at Dialogue Academy, as well as to subscribe to the show on iTunes, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, make sure to tell your friends about it and share it with your colleagues, and help us in our mission to share the values of dialogue and gender equality. You can also join the conversation by leaving a comment, since we are looking forward to hearing your opinion about this topic. Become a part of the dialogue.